You're 16, dragging a busted water heater across your neighbor's lawn in a radio flyer wagon to make $8 cash at the yard down the road. 25 years later, you walk away from a yard your family started with one truck, $42.3 million wired by closing. Between those two moments sits a $43.3 billion U.S. industry. In one of the 4 deadliest jobs in America, 41.4 deaths per 100,000 workers. This is every level of a scrapyard worker's career and what it actually costs to climb. If you like breakdowns of how careers actually progress, like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Level 1. The Garage Scrapper. You're 16, and your dad's Ford F-150 is in the driveway with a busted water heater in the bed. You drag it onto a hand truck and weigh it on the bathroom scale, 80 pounds of cold steel and foam. You stomp the soda cans flat and bag them into a contractor sack. You strip the insulation off a coil of Romex with a utility knife. The copper underneath is the color of a new penny. The hand magnet lives in your back pocket. Steel sticks. Copper and aluminum don't. That's the whole test. You load the truck with 2 washing machine carcasses and pull onto the drive-on scale. The yardman gestures at the bin without speaking. You tip the bag, and the cans rattle against the metal. He reweighs the truck, hands you a paper ticket, and the cashier counts out $8 in singles. Aluminum cans are running 60 cents a pound this week. There's a guy named Nathan Zach who started his company out of his garage at 16 years old. Same hand magnet, same wagon, and his name is on a national recycler now. You sort a copper pile wrong, and the buyer downgrades it from number 1 to number 2. You don't make that mistake twice. The sorting becomes muscle memory. You stop checking the magnet twice. You walk out of the cashier window with cash nobody knew you earned. Level 2. The you-pull-it yard laborer. You're 18 in steel toes from Walmart, making $16 an hour. A tow truck drops a wrecked Toyota Camry on the intake pad, and the foreman points at the drip pans. You drain the gas into a sealed jerry can, cut the seat belts with a sawzall, pull the airbags, pop the battery, and punch the catalytic converter off with an air chisel. The cat goes into a locked steel cage by the office. The car goes on wheels, stands in row 47. You walk a customer to row 47 in the rain. Because his daughter's Camry needs an alternator, he pays $55 at the counter. The shop down the street wanted $300. You start parking around the corner so customers don't catch you on lunch. A worker on the Indeed reviews put it plain: safety over production with no exceptions. You believe it the first time you watch a Camry slip off a jack stand. California passed Assembly Bill 1740 in 2022. The yard logs the VIN, year, make, and the seller's business license for every cat that comes through. Pull Apart pays $250 to $500 for a whole junk car. The converter alone runs $50 to $1,500. The car is the wrapper. The cat is the candy. You pass your OSHA 10 card on a Tuesday. The foreman learns your name on a Wednesday. By Friday, you've depopulated 9 cars clean. The row is yours. Level 3. The Industrial Torch Cutter. You're 23, making $23.64 an hour at a Harsco yard in Midlothian, Texas. The leathers weigh 10 pounds before you pick up the torch. You strap on FR chaps, a welding hood, and a propane bottle on a cart. The boat anchor in front of you is a railcar bogie, 5,000 pounds of cast steel, and it has to come down under 5 feet for the mill. You chalk the cut line at 60 inches and light the Victor torch with a striker. You preheat the bevel until the steel glows the color of a sunset, hit the oxygen lever, and walk the cut. Slag fountains onto your boots. The smell of burnt galvanizing gets in your sinuses and stays for the shift. You forget to chain off a piece of plate, and it shifts when the loader bumps the stack. The plate catches the back of your boot and tears the leather without taking the foot. You eat lunch in the truck. There's a state file from 2017, New York Face 17 NY 023, about a 49-year-old yard worker killed by a front-end loader. Cause of death: severe blunt trauma. You read it taped to the break room wall. The deadliest part of the yard isn't the torch. It's the loader operator, who can't see you behind the stack. You learn to make eye contact with the cab every single time. The owner, Jerry Bailey at Rose Metal Processing in Houston, said the material handlers move around laying out work for our torch burners. That's you. You bring the boat anchor down to mill size in one shift. The foreman walks past you to the next pile, which is the only compliment that counts. You stop flinching at the strike of the torch. Level 4. The equipment operator and grader. You're 28, and the cab is orange. You're running a Sennebogen material handler with an orange peel grapple. The job spec said 1 year of experience running Volvo, Liebherr, or Sennebogen in scrap, waste, or demolition preferred. The radio chatter is constant, and the cab smells like diesel. A Camry rolls onto the inbound scale at 2,650 pounds tear. You swing the grapple, lift it onto the pre-shred conveyor, and the 9,000 horsepower mega shredder takes it down to fist-sized frag in 90 seconds. The wine gets in your teeth before your ears. The magnetic drum pulls the ferrous out. The eddy current separator kicks the non-ferrous off the belt. That's Zorba. And per ISRI specs, it has to be at least 65% aluminum by weight to ship. An airbag the Depop crew missed pops in the chamber and sounds like a rifle shot. The Niton XRF gun lives on your hip. A roll-off shows up with mixed copper. You walk over with the gun and grade the load in 18 minutes. Copper is running $3.40 a pound for the Bear Bright. Roberto Lorta, the lead operator at Rose Metal, told the owner during a vendor demo, "Mr. Bailey, please don't give that green machine back. You understand the sentiment, the first shift in a cab that doesn't fight you. The frag rides a railcar to a Nucor mill. The Zorba bunkers for export, depending on what China's buying." Mark Hidakik at Alter Trading told Recycling Today, ever since Chinese New Year, they have been very quiet. You feel that on the buy price the next morning. You stop saving the scale tickets. Level 5. The yard manager and commercial buyer. You're 38, and you have a whiteboard. The whiteboard runs the buy price for copper, brass, and HMS. When you change a number, the whole town changes a number. Pay is $42,000 to $120,000 a year, depending on the book that follows you. You take the daily mill call at 6:15, Nucor on Monday, Gerdau on Tuesday, and the price on the board comes off that call. A demolition contractor wants to dump a strip mall's worth of structural steel. You quote a price per gross ton, dispatch a roll-off, and the load weighs in at 42,000 pounds. The grader rejects 4% as contamination. You cut the check inside 24 hours. The customer pays $327.64 per ton for HMS. You make the spread. Rob Goldstein, fourth-generation chair of Alter Trading in St. Louis, told an industry session, "We are an opportunistic company, and if there is a reason to make a move, we will explore it." You translate that for yourself. Every yard is for sale at a number. China's Operation National Sword in 2017 collapsed the Zorba export market overnight. Section 232 in 2018 changed mill demand for scrap in the same calendar year. You hold the floor through a 30% drop in copper across a single week. The board comes off. The new number goes up. The trucks keep coming through the gate. You stop saving the pay stubs. Level 6. The yard owner. You're 58, and the banker is on speaker. You run 5 facilities now with a Newell shredder at the flagship. 2.9 acres, 4 Sennebogen material handlers, a torch crew you've kept together 12 years. SA Recycling runs 130 yards and 5 million tons a year at $3.8 billion in revenue. You're a feeder yard a Nucor mill cannot afford to lose. The banker canvasses the majors. You sign an NDA. The data room opens yard maps, mill contracts, Phase 2 environmental reports going back 15 years. Schnitzer Steel tendered for Houston-based Proler International in 1996 at $35 million, Hugo Neu counterbid, and the deal closed at $42.3 million, a 21% jump from the holdout. Nucor bought the David J. Joseph Company in 2008 for $1.4 billion, 35 yards, 12 shredders, 1,700 employees, founded in 1885. Toyota Tsusho bought Radius Recycling in 2025 for $907 million. Sims Metal bought Baltimore Scrap Corp in 2023 for $177 million. Bob Kellman at Sims called a smaller deal a strategic addition to our network of feeder yards. That's the phrase you've been waiting to read about your yard. You hold out for the counterbid. The wire clears on a Thursday at 2 in the afternoon. You walk the catwalk above the shredder line, and the rumble comes through your boots before your ears. The teenager with a radio flyer and the seller of a $42.3 million yard do the same job: identify what is steel and what is not, and time the market. The tools change. The discipline doesn't. Copper is $3.40 a pound in Newark and in Modesto. Aluminum cans are 60 cents a pound from Maine to San Diego. The spread between the buy and the sell pays the rent on every yard between those two coasts. The industry that swallowed your yard moves $43.3 billion in revenue a year, and 171,470 people clock in to make it run at an average of $90,100 apiece. You missed a Christmas or two in the middle of the climb, and you would do it again on the same terms. The new owner asked you to stay on for a year as a consultant. You said no. You drive past the gate on a Tuesday morning, and there's a kid on the inbound scale with a busted water heater in the bed of an F-150. He's 16, give or take. The yardman gestures at the bin without speaking. The cans rattle. The cashier counts out $8 through the sliding window. The hand magnet from your father's pickup sits on your desk in a glass case, next to the first scale ticket you ever cashed. The ladder is still there. He's on the first rung. The view from the top is named, and it's named after you.